Hi there. I just want to say thank you so much for those that have subscribed to this channel. And if you haven't, I want to thank you in advance for your support. Thanks for watching. Hey, how's it going? Hopefully, all is well with you. I'm maybe an octave lower in my voice. It's what happens when you get, I haven't decided, is it a cold or is it allergies? The wind started kicking up over here in California, and next thing I know, stuff started happening. But usually, when you have a sore throat, that's usually because you may have caught something. God only knows what's floating around these days in these skies in the wind. So I decided last minute to put some content out and talk about caregiver health. Yeah, simple that. The health of a caregiver. It's about, I think the statistics are 67% of caregivers have the chance and the likelihood of being sicker than the person that they're actually taking care of. I know it's a crazy thought, but it's true. Uh, I took care of my mom. I took care of my dad. And with my dad, I had some help. But with my mom, I was pretty much solo. And I could tell you that as mom was declining in her dementia health, me as a caregiver really realized how out of shape I was. And we're finding out now when you're older, when you exceed into your 50s and beyond, what's really key for staying in good health to manage your health is muscle mass. A lot of times when we work out, we think, oh, we need to lose weight. We need to lose weight. Okay, great. We do need to lose weight. We do need to be in shape. I don't believe in the BMI because they keep changing the numbers. But bottom line is that it's the body mass index, right? How much fat you have on on you. Well, basically, I've learned it's the muscle mass that you maintain mostly in your legs. I had learned when my mom was bedridden, and just the medicines that she was taking, they were eating away her muscle mass to the point that her legs had atrophy. Her muscle mass in her legs started to disappear, which created weakness, which created her unable to stand on her own merit. She needed assistance, whether it's by a device or by me or someone else, just to get up and out of bed. It really does make a big difference. So, as a caregiver, I realized, okay, this is where we're going to find out if you're in shape or how much you are out of shape in my case. I found myself lifting up my mom. My mom was losing a lot of weight. She was basically, I'd say at the time that I was taking full time care of her, she was about 124, which is pretty good for my mom. Most of her life, she's been heavy set, but then she started really losing weight in her 50s and 60s. But when she became diagnosed with uh, cognitive impairment, dementia, she was hovering around 124. And by the time she was bedridden, she was probably, well, under 100 bucks. Yeah. She was under a Benjamin. That may have been some truth at some point. Hey, I know my mom. It created dead weight for me. And I emphasize this with caregiving health is because it required me to be able to lift her up. My back muscles were screaming. I needed to lift with my legs. If I didn't have sturdy legs or muscle mass in my legs, there was no way I could lift mom up off the ground on the floor if she fell. I had to lift up dead weight. My knees were screaming because, of course, You have to lift with your legs. Requires your knees, your hamstrings, your glutes. Your gluteus maximus needs to be in excellent condition. There's a lot of stress put onto those parts of your body. Not only that, your shoulders need to be able to lift up, your biceps, your triceps. I'm going to try to get this done without having a coughing attack. So it's a lot of mental stress. That'll do a number on you. And because we're talking about mental stress, not just physical, the requirements of what it is for being physical. The mental is equally exhausting. There's physical exhaustion and there's mental exhaustion. I was blessed to have people in my life that are in psychology, people that I could go to that have a clinical psychology background. And they were able to shrink me because there's a lot of things that caregivers go through that most people don't even understand because they don't know. And why would they know if they're not in the trench doing the caregiving on a regular basis? It's no fault of theirs, but they're never going to understand what it is that you as a caregiver are going through. Because it's a physical job, because you're constantly moving and thinking for yourself and for the loved one, you're not only doing the average daily living things for them, with them, you're also thinking about finances. You're thinking about appointments and scheduling. You're thinking about groceries. You're thinking about what to cook, what meals to prepare. You're thinking about all these things. I used to fall asleep folding laundry because couldn't I couldn't keep my eyes open. It's probably the hardest job I've ever done. Some people that I know that are parents that have children said that caregiving was harder than that. And that's probably because eventually your child grows up and becomes a little bit more self-sufficient and can help you. This is constantly requiring you to be active in it. And I appreciated that comment because not only did it justify what I was feeling, but I had something to gauge it against, and someone could kind of understand what I was going through. But regular therapy to get out whatever it is you're feeling, just to speak to someone else, is golden. Therapy groups. I found a support group. I cannot imagine going through this experience without a support group. Find one in your neighborhood, find one locally through the Alzheimer's Society. I found one through Dementia Caregiving. It's actually called Dementia Care Blazers. I talk about it a lot. Dr. Natalie Edmonds started it, and she has weekly support groups that discuss different things. Groups with married couples, shall I say spouses, non-spouses. She now has added a grief group because that's actually part of the caregiving. I know it seems weird, but you actually go through this journey. And of course, the ending is with different types of grief. The ultimate grief is losing your loved one. Sadly, nothing's been developed to say that they can heal from this ailment, this disease. So it always ends up with death. But there's a lot of things to be said about grief. It's not just losing your loved one, it's anticipating the loss of your loved one. It's going through different phases of losing your loved one. It's watching them no longer do things. Every time something changes, you go through a type of grief. Of course, there's private counseling that you can go to. They're costly, it's expensive. That's why I went the least amount. But, every week we meet and we do Zoom calls, and people show up if they have time to, but just the ability to meet with someone that meets you where you're at, or if you're seeking advice, that in itself is so worth it. And sometimes it's just good if you don't gain anything from it. Sometimes you have something to offer to someone else. Nobody knows what the other person is going through. So it's always good that if you can remember what you went through or how you felt or how you dealt with the circumstance, sometimes it's good to bring that up because somebody in that group may be going through that. Maybe it's too shy to speak, but that's exactly the information they needed. It's one of the reasons why I like a support group. And, you have to look at it this way too. If you go to private counseling, you are investing in yourself. When you go to like a place like Dementia Care Blazers, yes, you are investing in how to properly be trained dealing with dementia, scenarios, strategies, and all that stuff. You're investing in that type of teaching for yourself and for your loved one. But if you go to private counseling or even take the time to go to a support group, you're investing that time and that monetary value into yourself because a lot of times you need that to carry and move forward. You're not going to be a caregiver forever. Everything's temporary. That reality is hard because you realize it's not going to be forever. Another way that you can invest in yourself is to take your loved one to adult daycare. I didn't know that it existed. My mother never went to one. Not that she didn't want to, it just wasn't necessary for us in our scenario. But they do have in senior centers, sometimes they'll have adult daycare that you can check out for a nominal fee. And it's a place to go that you could bring your loved one and they could do crafts and just interact and socialize with other people for, I don't know, 2, 3 hours. But that's 2, 3 hours that you get for yourself. And then if you are able to, you can hire a caregiver, but sometimes they charge anywhere from $30 to $40 an hour. If you find a deal of $20 an hour, you can afford to do that. But even $20 an hour for 4 hours, that's $80. And that's just one day for 4 hours. I know I had to pay that. It was a lot of money, but it was well worth it because I would leave, I would come back to my house. I had a business. I would do some work, wrap that up, go back. But it was time for myself. Strangely enough, whenever I took time to go grocery shopping, that turned into a field trip. But I usually did it when my mom was sleeping or she was taking a nap. Of course, and you got to think to yourself, how much can you do on your own? How much are you capable of doing? It's a hard decision, but some people have to actually say, I can't do this. It's requiring too much of my time. It's taking too much time away from my family, things that I need attention. Maybe I should put my loved one into assisted living. One thing I did learn about assisted living, good God Almighty, on a minimum, 7,000 On the maximum, I've heard up to $25,000 a month. It depends on what type of care you're looking for. It depends on what the requirement is for your loved one. But holy moly, that is costly. I ended up doing that on my own, taking care of my mom. But I had learned through the support group what other people were paying in different states, in different countries, such as Canada or even in Europe. And I thought, that's crazy. You also get 3 to 4 people to be on staff to take care of your loved one. It's a whole lot cheaper to keep them in the home and you do it yourself, but you're doing the work of 3 to 4 people. And we wonder why we get sick. I just want to remind you it's not an easy job. And the times that you get frustrated and the times that you get overwhelmed, please remember to breathe. I know it sounds stupid, right? But really, please. I had found out that when someone said, "Are you breathing?" I laughed at them. I said, "Yeah, I'm breathing. Obviously, I'm alive." But there were times I thought about it like, holy crap, I'm holding my breath. You don't realize that you are holding your breath. That's my point. If you don't breathe properly, it's going to show up somewhere in your body. You're depleting your own brain from receiving oxygen. Your blood that runs through the veins, it needs oxygen. If you hold your breath, there's no oxygen going to your bloodstream. It's called tactical breathing. I used to call it healthy breathing. It's tactical breathing is what the Navy SEALs would train the guys to do if they're in a highly stressed situation. It's called tactical for a reason. If they feel that stress coming on, you breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds and you blow it out for 5 seconds and you do it again. For 5 seconds. Tactical breathing. It's got a name. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But see, there's a point where you start to take care of yourself and recognize, hey, I'm going to be of no use to my loved one if I don't take care of myself. I'm in a group right now of people that have lost their loved ones that have recently passed. And we talk a lot about the things we did not do while we were caregiving. And that's what actually spawned this particular episode. And now we're like getting together and talking about things that maybe we missed the mark. We realized that we had neglected ourselves and more or less how it's what we're going to do to try to make things better. So keep these things in your back pocket. Remember them as you're doing your caregiving. It's not an easy job. I commend you for what you're doing. If nobody ever tells you, I'm proud of you. It's not the easiest thing to do. And maybe that's why nobody signs up for it. Because deep down, we all know it's hard. But really, there is an emotional, a physical, mental toll. Pay attention to it. You don't want to lose yourself in the process. In the meantime, I want you to continue to be blessed and to always be good to yourself. Take care. Until next time. Hey, thanks for watching. And please remember to hit the subscribe button. We are trying to grow our channel and reach 1,000 subscribers. Now, for every new subscriber, these two nutheads right here, they're going to get a treat, so we will all be happy. Thanks for watching.